Hello mga kamat tips. So, pag-aaralan natin ngayon ay about sa Introduction to Calculus. So, magkakaroon tayo ng series and tutorials about sa calculus. So, ako nga pala si Jonard M. Hunyo, currently a second year student of University of Pangasinan. So, yung course ko is BS in Civil Engineering. So, mga ka-engineer dyan, so pwede nyo itong i-share para sa kanila. So, Calculus 1. So, let's go. Calculus 1. So, ihanda nyo na ang papel, ballpen, tas yung mga pagsulat nyo dyan, tas yung calculator. Yan. Baka sakaling kailanganin natin. So, let's dive in at umpisa na natin ang Introduction to Calculus. So, yan. Ano nga ba ang definition ng calculus? So, calculus is sometimes called the mathematics of change, Is that branch of mathematics concerned with describing the precise way in which changes in one variable relate to changes in another. So, kung mapapansin natin dyan, mathematics of change. Habang nag-iiba itong isang bagay na to, at nag-iiba din ito, nagkakaroon tayo ng precise way o mayroon tayong definite answer. So, isa na dyan, kasi sa calculus, dyan na-derive yung mga formula natin tulad ng sa velocity, sa velocity, which is the distance over time, which is ito ay change in distance and over the change of time. Habang nagpapalit itong dalawang ito, nagkakaroon tayo ng precise na value ni velocity. Yan. So, our today's founder of calculus, dalawa sila, si Isaac Newton, itong una, and then si Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz. Yan. So, ang calculus is na-divide into 4, which are the following. Una, the differential calculus. Next is the integral calculus. And the third is the differential equation and the calculus of variation. So, dahil calculus 1 pa, dito tayo sa differential calculus. And then next, maaaring sa next sem, kung sa masusunod yung pag-aaralan, integral calculus naman. And then next after doon is the differential equation. And then si calculus of variation. So magpo-focus muna tayo sa differential calculus. So ano ba ang differential calculus? So it's a branch of mathematics which deals with derivatives in limits. So nandito na mag-derivative tayo, tapos magkakaroon tayo ng limit. So alamin din natin ano nga ba yung different types ng isang mga functions. So, ito na, nasulat ko na. Yan na yung mga following. Una is the algebra. Yan. It concerns with x, x's, x squared, y, x, 2x, ayan, and many more. And next is the trigonometric. So, ito naman yung mga sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, tapos cosecant, and then secant. Yan, mga yan. So, next is the inverse trigonometric function. So, ito yung naman yung arcsine, arccosine, arctangent, or pwede din siyang symbol na sine raised to negative 1, arctangent. Yan. And next is the logarithmic. Ito naman yung ln, the log, and the log. Yan. Next is the exponential. Ito yung e raised to a function x, o kaya constant naman 8 raised to 5. I mean x, 8 raised to x. And then next is hyperbolic trigonometric function. So, hypersine, yan, hypersine, hypercosine, hypertangent, hypercotangent, hypercosecant, at secant. Yan. Sine H. Yan. And next is inverse hyperbolic trigonometric function. So simply, halos same lang siya sa inverse trigo, meron lang talaga siyang H. Yan. So, sa calculus, yan yung mga ma-encounter natin na different types of functions. So, alamin din natin kung ano nga ba ang pagkakaiba ni derivative kay differential. No? So, we have example, y is equal to x. So, ang derivative niyan is you will have dy over dx. dy over dx is equal to 1. Pero kapag differential naman, magkakaroon tayo ng dy equals to dx. The derivative of y, the derivative of x. Another is, ano nga ba ang explicit at implicit function? So, explicit, no? Ito, agad-agad mo na itong makikita kasi i-derivative mo na siya agad. Yan. Direct. Magda-direct ka na. Next is the implicit, which is indirect or para bang kailangan mo pa mag-transpose. So, isa ding palatandaan dito is magkatabi si x and y. Yan. So, function notation naman tayo. So, define muna natin. The word function was first used by Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz in 1694 as a term to denote any quantity concerned with a curve, such as coordinates of a point on the curve or the slope of the curve. So simply, napag-aralan na natin yan. No? Yung mga function kasi, pwede siyang linear, quadratic, meron din tayong mga polynomial. Yan. So Leonhard Euler used the word function to describe any expression made up of a variable and some constants. He introduced the notation y is equal to the function of x. Yan. Y is equal to the function of x. Now, as a preparation, dahil introduction pa lang naman to, isusulat natin yung mga formula. So, maganda kapag may notes na. Yan. Ito yung mga formula. So, tandaan nyo lang itong hexagon na ito at magkakaroon na kayo ng 21 na identities. Na hindi nyo na kailangang i-recite, basta gumawa lang kayo ng ganito. So, gagawa ka lang ng hexagon na ito. Yan. Ito. Yan. So, yung mga iba na nakikita sa internet is, kung nag-search kayo na, nagsapag-search na kayo, no? Yung sin x nasa taas. So, mas kabisado ko kasi ito. Kayo na lang bahala kung saan kayo mas kabisado. So, si tan x, yan. So, tan x, we have, kasi most common na yan na si tan x is equal to sin x over cosine x. So, kapag natandaan niyo yan, no, magagawa nyo na itong hexagon na ito. So, tan x, so, iikot siya dito. Next is sin x is equal to sin x all over the cosine x. So, mamaya, makikita natin kung paano nangyari din mga yan. And then, ito naman, yung line na to, yung nasa gitna, yan, no? So, si tan x is equal to 1 all over cotangent x. No? So, alam na natin na si tangent, kabaliktaran niya, cotangent. So, meron na tayong 1, 2, 3, 4. And then next, para itong cosecant na to, ito kasi yung isa sa mga palatandaan ko, no? Na yung mga hindi nag-uumpisa sa C, kabaliktaran niya is si C. Now, what do I mean? So, kunyari, si sin x, ang reciprocal niya is mag-uumpisa sa C. Kung mapapansin niyo, ganun din si tangent x. Which is, ang kabaliktaran niya is mag-uumpisa sa C, which is the cotangent x. So, kapag si cosine naman, so, nag-umpisa siya sa C. So, ang kabaliktaran niya is hindi dapat mag-umpisa sa C. So, dito muna tayo sa sin x, no? So, ang kabaliktaran niya is may C. So, bigay na si cosine. So, ang natitira na lang is si cosecant. At syempre, ang cosine x, ang tira na lang is si secant x. So, we will now have the identities. And then, lagyan nyo lang ng plus dito, 1, plus, which is magagamit din natin yan mamaya. So, yung una, reciprocal identities. Anong ibig sabihin nun? So, simple lang, yung reciprocal nito, yun na yung identities niya. So, ito, tangent x is equal to 1, itong nasa gitna, all over cotangent x. Yan. And then, ganun din si sine. Anong reciprocal niya? Si cosecant. So, sin x equal to 1 all over cosecant x. Same as cosine. Kabaliktaran niya is si secant. And so on and so forth. Kaya meron tayong formula na ito, 6. So, si tangent x equal to 1 all over cotangent x. Sin x equal to 1 all over cosecant x. And then si cosine, kabaliktaran niya nga si secant. So, cosine x equals to 1 all over secant x. And then si cotangent x, kung mapapansin nyo, magkakabaliktad lang ito, dalawang to. So, si cotangent x equal to 1 all over tangent x. Same, cosecant x equals to 1 all over sin x. At si secant x is equal to 1 all over cosine x. So, may 6 na tayong alam. So, next is the division counterclockwise. So, paano naman yan? So, magdi-divide daw ng counterclockwise. No? So, example natin is si tangent x. Clockwise yung ikot, which is paganto. Yan. Counterclockwise, CC. So, yung next is equal to sin x all over cosine x. Tangent x is equal to sin x all over cosine x. So, next naman is si sin x. So, sin x is equal to cosine x all over cotangent x. Yan. At yung cosine, ganun din. Which is cotangent x is equal to cosecant x. And so forth and so far. Yan. So, yan. Ito siya. So, you can post and then screenshot nyo. Tapos, copyin na lang. So, next is the division clockwise. So, same lang ng process doon sa counterclockwise. Now naman kasi clockwise. So, halimbawa dyan, is si cotangent x. Ito siya. Cotangent. Yan. So, cotangent x is equal to the cosine x. So, si cotangent x is equal to cosine x all over sin x. So, yan na nga yung una nating sample. And then, so, 6. So, 18 na yon. And then, the last 3 are the Phytagorian identities. So, paano yung Phytagorian identities na yan? So, babalik ko lang din mamaya dun sa taas. So, meron tayong tangent squared x plus 1 is equal to secant squared x. And the next is cotangent squared x plus 1 is equal to cosecant squared x. And then sin squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. So, kung mapapansin nyo, makakabuo kasi tayo ng triangles. To. Itong triangle na ito. Yan. Kita nyo ba? So, si tangent squared x plus 1 is equal dun sa tuktok niya, which is the secant squared x. And then, dito din, yan. So, may triangle again. So, sine squared x, sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. Yan. And then, the last but not the least, so, 1 plus cotangent squared x, no? 1 plus cotangent squared x is equal to the cosecant squared x. So, yan na yung mga formulas natin. Okay. So, try to remember yung mga yan. So, and then, ito din naman is additional. Ito yung mga common na ginagamit. So, si power reducing formula. Yan. Si sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine 2x all over 2. So, next is the cosine squared x is equal to 1 plus cosine 2x all over 2. So, ito, i-recite nyo na lang, no? Screenshot nyo, sulat nyo, tapos i-review, and then, gawa na kayo ng technique. Paano nyo ba matatandaan yan? So, practice nyo lang, review lang paulit-ulit, and then makukuha nyo din yan. Sa twice an angle naman tayo, or the double angle formula. So, kasi dito, ito twice mo yung angle kasi naka-twice. So, si sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cosine x. Then, cosine 2x equal to cosine squared x minus sine squared x. And then, si tangent 2x is equal to 2 tangent x all over 1 minus tangent squared x. Tangent 2x is equal to cotangent x minus 1 all over 2 cotangent x. So, ito talaga, sariling practice na lang to. I-recite yung mga yan. Mga common na yan eh. So, next is half an angle. Ito naman, screenshot nyo lang kasi sulat. So, sine x all over 2, naka-half yung angle. So, square root of 1 minus cosine x all over 2. Next is cosine x all over 2 is equal to square root 1 plus cosine x all over 2. And then si tangent x all over 2 is equal to 1 minus the square root of 1 minus cosine x all over sine x. Then si cosine x all over 2 is equal to square root of sine x all over 1 minus cosine x. So, ito naman yung sa sum and difference of two angles. So, ito talaga yung mga yan, sariling practice kung paano mo yung marirecite. Gumawa ka ng sarili mong palatandaan kung paano mo matatandaan. Yan. So, si cosine x plus y, kumakuha siya cosine x, cosine y minus sine x, sine y. And then, nung naging minus to, itong nasa loob nila, nung naging positive lang to, nag-change lang naman yan ng sign. So, matatandaan mo yung isa, tapos mag-change lang siya ng sign. And then, goods ka na. So, ito naman, sine x plus y. So, sine x, cosine y, plus cosine x, sine y. Then, nung naging minus siya, so, naging negative din. Then, ganun din sa tangent x plus y, tan x plus tan y all over 1 minus tan x, tan y. So, kung pansin nyo, positive to, and then negative sa baba. And then, yung naging minus na, naging negative sa taas, and then positive. So, nag-change lang siya ng sign. So, yung cotangent x naman tayo. So, cotangent din naman tayo. So, x plus y. So, cotangent x, cotangent y, minus 1. all over cotangent y plus cotangent x. So, kapag minus to, mag-change lang siya ng sign. So, now naman, let's assume na alam na natin yung mga yon. Yung mga formulas ng mga yon. So, let's apply ito. So, perform the indicated operations. So, if the function of x equal to x squared minus x plus 3, then find f of 0, f of 2, f of negative 4, and f of negative 2x. So, sa substitution lang to, so f of 0 is equal to, so magiging 0, no? Substitute 0 squared minus 0 plus 3. So, the answer is 3. Madali lang. So, f of 2 is equal to 2 squared minus 2 plus 3. So, ang sagot dyan is 4 minus 2, 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. And then, f of negative 4. So, substitute lang negative 4 squared minus negative 4 plus 3. So, the answer is 16. This is 16. Ito is positive 4. 16 plus 4 is 20 plus 3 is 23. Yan. And then see, f of negative 2x. So, negative 2x squared minus 2x minus negative 2x plus 3. So, the answer will be 4x squared. Negative times negative becomes positive. 4x plus 3. So, that will be the answers. Yan, 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 and then ito. So, next tayo, next number. So, ito. If f of b equals to the quantity b minus b squared all over the quantity 1 plus b squared. So, find f of tangent x. So, our solution will be f of tan x, the function of tan x. So, substitute lang natin si tangent x sa b. So, tangent x minus tangent x, the quantity squared, all over 1 plus, wait lang, hindi maintindihan, 1 plus tangent x squared. So, exponent muna tayo. So, copy lang natin tangent x minus tangent squared x all over 1 plus tangent squared x. So, dito na tayo gagamit ng mga identities. We know that the one from 1 plus tangent x is equal to 1 plus tangent squared x is equal to secant squared x. And then, si tangent x, ito yung gusto natin, no? Hindi mo naman kailangan i-memorize yung 21 na yon. So, ang pinakamadali is i-recite mo in terms of sine and cosine. Kasi sa calculator, no, sine, cosine, and tangent naman yung mga nandun. So, ang gagawin mo is i-recite mo yung in terms of sine and cosine. So, ang tangent x, so ibalik lang natin siya in terms of sine and cosine. So, ano ba? Tangent x equal to sine x all over cosine x. Then, kapag sinubstitute natin yan, yung mga yan, so our value will be, so si tangent x, papalitan natin ng sin x all over cosine x minus sin x all over cosine x. Yan. So, kapag squared, no? Kapag in-squared din natin to, ang mangyari is magagaroon ka lang ng sin squared x at cosine squared x. So, kahit i-write lang natin yung squared dito and then squared din dito. All over, no? Kapag in-squared mo to, pwede mo na i-squared yung mga to. Ganyan. All over the 1 plus tangent squared x is na ang nangyari na is ito. So, substitute lang natin secant squared x. And then, si secant squared x naman, ibabalik natin siya sa in terms of sine and cosine. So, 1 all over, anong identities niya? Cosine x squared. Yeah. Cosine squared x. So, i-substitute muna natin. So, si sine x all over cosine x minus sine squared x all over cosine squared x. And then, yung nasa baba is naging 1 all over cosine squared x. So, next natin gagawin is, itong nasa taas, LCD natin. So, anong LCD niya? Cosine squared x. So, cosine squared x divided by cosine x. So, we still have 1 cosine x. So, sine x cosine x minus cosine squared x divided by cosine squared x is 1 times sine squared x. So, just copy sine squared x. Multiply. So, ito namang nasa baba, i-reciprocal natin siya. So, cosine squared x all over 1. Para kasi maging multiplication, yung division. So, i-reciprocal mo and then proceed to multiplication. So, as you can see, pwede na natin itong i-cancel. Cancel. Cancel. Yan. So, ang tira is si sin x cosine x minus sine squared x. Yan, sine squared x. So, divisible sila by sin x. So, just factor out. Yan. So, we still have cosine x minus sin x. And that will be the answer. So, next number. Number 3. Yan na. Yan. So, number 3. If j of y is equal to cosine y minus sine y. So, find j of 0, j of pi all over 2, j of pi, and also show that the h should be j. Sorry. It should be j. Also, ito din. And then ito. So, we have j pi all over 2 plus x. Yan, is equal siya sa j pi minus x. Is equal to siya negative j, negative x. We have also note that the pi ang pi is 180 degrees. So, let's solve. So, g of 0 is equal to, so cosine 0 minus sine 0. So, anong answer natin? So, ito is, sine 0 is 0. Ito naman is 1. So, j of 0 is equal to 1. Yan. So, may video na yan dun sa ating page. I mean, YouTube channel. Just tignan nyo na lang. Trigonometric. Yan, country. Nagamit niyan sa kamay. And then, next is j pi over 2. So, ang pi, kung 180 yung pi, divided by 2, so we have the angle 90 degrees. So, just by substitution, cosine 90 minus sine 90, ito naman is 0, ito naman is 1. So, our answer is negative 1. And the last, j of pi, yan. So, magiging 180. So, cosine 180 minus sine 180 degrees. So, ang value nito is 0. Ang value nito is negative 1. So, our answer will be negative 1. So, ito naman, iprove natin, no? So, j pi all over 2 plus x, no? Is equal siya sa j pi minus x and yan. And so on. So, let's go. So, si j pi then pi plus pi all over 2 plus x. Yan. So, isa-substitute lang natin yan. Cosine 90 kasi pi all over 2 is 90 plus x minus sine 90 plus x. So, dito na natin magagamit yung mga identities natin kaganina. Ayan. So, from cosine, ano na yung identities ng cosine? So, cosine x plus y is equal to, so, si cosine x plus y, ang identity niya is cosine x cosine y plus sine x sine y. And then si sine naman x plus y is equal to sine x cosine y plus, this should be minus ito. Yan. Ito minus yan. Yan, that should be minus, sorry. So, sine x cosine y plus cosine x sine y. So, isa-substitute lang natin yan, no? So, cosine ito. Cosine x. Ano ba yung x natin? Cosine 90 cosine x. Ito. Yung y natin, x. Yan. Minus sine 90 sine x. Minus the quantity minus the quantity, ito, sin x, ano ba yung sin natin? Sin x natin is 90, cosine y, which is the x, plus, wala na yun ito, cosine 90 sin hindi na magkasya. Oops. Cosine 90 sin x. So, by simplification, ano na yung value ng cosine 90 natin? It is 0. Kapag 0 ito, so ito, lalag siya. So, kapag 0 yan, so, itong buong to, mag-0 na rin. And then, ito is sin 90 is 1. And then, sin 90 is 1. And then, cosine 90 is 0. So, ang lahat ng ito ay mawawala na. So, our answer will be negative 1 times sin x. So, it becomes negative sin x minus ito, minus cosine x. Yan. So, tapos na natin yung isa. And then, the next one, is j pi minus x. The solution, j pi minus x is equal siya sa cosine pi minus x kapag sinubstitute, no? Minus sine pi minus x. So, from cosine x minus y, or sige, gamitin na lang natin itong pi minus x. Pi minus x is equal siya sa cosine pi cosine x plus sin pi sin x. Ayan. And then, si sin naman, pi minus x is equal siya sa sin pi, no, yung una, and then si cosine x plus cosine pi, wait lang, should be minus. Yan. Minus cosine pi sin x. So, kapag sinubstitute natin yan, so we have cosine pi cosine x plus sin pi sin x, and then minus the quantity of sin pi cosine x minus cosine pi sin x. So, yan. So, ano ba ang value ni cosine pi or cosine 180? Anong value niya? Is negative 1. And then si sine 180 is 0. Then si sine 180 is 0. Then si cosine pi is negative 1. So ito, mawawala na. Ito mawawala na rin. So we have answered negative times cosine x. So negative cosine x. Ito, negative times negative. So becomes positive. And then, may tira pa tayong negative sa labas. So negative sine x. And the last but not the least, negative j of negative x. So we have the negative cosine negative x minus sine negative x. That will be the last one. So, ito, i-note nyo to, note. So, i-note nyo lang ito na si sine negative x is equal to negative sine x. Kapag ito yung mga negative angles. So, si cosine negative x, so is equal siya sa cosine x. So, and then si tangent negative x or negative angle is equal to negative tangent x. So, by that, ang sagot natin ay si cosine negative x is equal siya sa cosine x. And then, si negative, naging negative, negative ay sine negative x equal to negative sine x. So, ito, cancel, naging positive. So, negative cosine x, positive times negative, negative sine x. So, kung mapapansin natin, ito ay equal siya dito. No? And then, equal din siya dun sa taas. Which is ito. So, the same as negative cosine x, negative sine x. Therefore, no? Therefore, the j of pi all over 2 plus x is equal siya sa j pi minus x is equal siya sa negative j of negative x. So, hanggang dyan na muna ang ating introduction to calculus. At ang susunod naman natin ay limits. So, kapag nakatulong ito sa inyo, just share this video, no? And subscribe to my channel to have more math tips. So, hanggang dyan na muna. Then, sa mga friends nyo, i-share nyo na din